Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 4th of June, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed down 0.3% to 7,737 points, reversing the trend of the previous couple of sessions. Energy stocks were the worst performers, while materials also went backwards, best on the day for the second straight session with the financials. Iron ore prices have dropped on the back of fears about demand from China that pushed Fortescue Metals Group, BHP and Rio Tinto lower. Energy suppliers fell with Woodside, Santos, Beach Energy, New Hope and Whitehaven all closing down. However, gold prices rose and that helped the gold diggers, including Perseus Mining, Dr. Gray and Northern Star. Family tracking app Life360 rose 2% after the launch of an initial public offering in the United States. The group plans to raise up to $150 million. Life360's share price has more than doubled so far this year. Budget jewellery group Lovisa fell another nearly 2% after yesterday's 10% fall that came after Smiggle's boss John Cheston was announced as Lovisa's new CEO. And the former boss of Virgin Australia, John Borghetti, will become Crown Resorts' new chair. Crown nowadays, of course, is owned by private equity giant Blackstone. Story number 2, US data overnight showed a slowdown in factory activity in the world's biggest economy for the second straight month, adding to the argument that the Federal Reserve should cut rates sooner rather than later this year. That pushed the Aussie dollar higher to almost 67 US cents and bond yields both here and overseas lower. In the US, investors have now priced in 2 25 basis point cuts by the end of this year. Over the past week in Australia, traders have wound back expectations of any rate rises, and they've now fully priced in a rate cut sometime in the next 12 months here in Australia. Story number 3, there was a slew of economic data out today from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, which generally suggests that the March quarter economic growth figure due out tomorrow morning will be weak. Very low, probably around 0.2, 0.3%. Undoubtedly, the economy was struggling the first 3 months of the year on the back of the cost of living crisis and higher interest rates. The figures today show that company profits fell in the first quarter of 2024. Inventories rose. Australia's current account balance fell into deficit. There's 2 parts to that. The first is a trade surplus. That was smaller on the back of higher imports of stuff like medicines, clothing and footwear. The income deficit surged, primarily a result of offshore investors taking money out of the country, particularly around LNG and property. The forecast for the March quarter growth figure following the release of all those partial indicators is for a very weak 3 months. Story number 4, creditors in collapsed electric goods at retailer Godfreys will receive none of the $45 million owed to them, and employees will get just under 3/4 of their entitlements. Administrators PwC said 26 groups had expressed interest in buying Godfreys. However, none of the eventual 6 offers were deemed suitable. Godfreys collapsed in January this year, hurt by increased competition from larger bricks and mortar players like Harvey Norman and the surge in online buying. Its range has been somewhat superseded. In fact, Godfreys didn't stock the very popular Dyson brand. The PwC report says Godfreys had succumbed to fierce price competition, worsening consumer sentiment, rising costs, inadequate financing, and a flawed strategy of trying to buy out franchise operators. So, after 90 years, it's the end for Godfreys. And story number 5, as we go to air, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to win a historic 3rd term in office after a partial vote count published today shows his party and its partners on course to win re-election, albeit with a smaller majority than before. Modi's party, the BJP, and its National Democratic Alliance allies were ahead in at least 293 of 543 seats in India's lower house, allowing it to secure a 3rd 5-year term and form the next government. Early trends show the opposition India Alliance, INDIA Alliance, led by the Indian National Congress, performing better than expected and winning 229 seats. Exit polls released over the weekend after the end of voting had projected the ruling alliance to win many more. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 4th of June, 2024. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with a Wednesday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.